National Conference patron Dr. Farooq Abdullah today set the cat amongst the pigeons by saying that countries like China or the US should help bring India and Pakistan to the negotiating table to discuss Kashmir. Not only is this against India's long-standing policy of non-intervention by a third power in Kashmir, it seriously is tone deaf to say that China, of all countries, should help facilitate talks at a time when Indian and Chinese troops have been locked in a standoff for over a month in Doklam. So is Dr. Farooq Abdullah simply fishing in troubled waters, or is he undermining India's position on Kashmir? It's time for Face Off.
Trump ने खुद कहा कि I want to settle Kashmir problem. हमने थोड़ा कहा उससे. चीन ने कहा अभी I want to mediate in Kashmir.
China can help create an atmosphere to resolve the Kashmir dispute. That is the suggestion of National Conference patriarch Farooq Abdullah. The BJP accuses him of undermining India's policy. Is he undermining India's policy, or is he fishing in troubled waters? We'll put that to our panelists. We'll be joined by Brigadier retired B.D. Mishra, defense expert here in our studios, Gauhar Gilani, political commentator from Srinagar, GVL Narasimha Rao, spokesperson of the BJP, Ashok Malik, resident commentator here at CNN News 18, Dr. Ajay Kumar, spokesperson of the Congress, and we'll also be joined by Nasir Aslam Wani, former Jammu and Kashmir Home Minister and National Conference spokesperson. Well, that's our big debate. We'll get to it in just a couple of minutes. Here are the other headlines that we're tracking this Friday night on Face Off. There is no let-up in the face-off at Doklam between Indian and Chinese troops. Chinese state media keeps up its propaganda push. Chinese government mouthpiece Global Times attacks External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj, accusing her of lying to the Indian Parliament. It says that China will not pull out troops from the Tri-Junction. Former Gujarat Chief Minister Shankar Singh Waghela quits the Congress. He claims he's a victim of a conspiracy because of which the Congress had to throw him out. 24 hours back, Waghela stressed, however, that he will not be joining the BJP. Reliance shakes up the telecom sector yet again. The Made in India, Made for India Jio phone will be free for customers with unlimited data, free voice and SMS at just 153 rupees a month. Bookings open from the 24th of August. And it is thunderous applause as well as high hopes from India's women's cricket team ahead of the 2017 ICC Women's World Cup final after stunning the defending champions Australia in the semi-finals. Mithali Raj's girls take on England at Lord's on Sunday. But right at the top of the show, we're getting some big breaking news. It's coming right at the top of Face Off. The United States has blocked $350 million in aid to Pakistan for not doing enough against the Haqqani network that is undermining American security interests in Afghanistan. The reports seem to suggest that US officials are frustrated by what they term as Islamabad's unwillingness to act against Islamist groups like the Taliban as well as the Haqqani network. The Pentagon's decision comes ahead of the Trump administration formally putting out its AFPAC policy. Remember, the Trump administration hasn't publicly articulated what its AFPAC policy is in the 6 months it's been in office. This is not the first time, though, the US government has made such a move. Last year, the Pentagon had withheld $300 million in reimbursements. Remember, CNN News 18 reported how Pakistani netas from Nawaz Sharif's own ruling party, the PMLN, were seen attending a rally in Islamabad along with Pakistan's top terror masterminds. This has been done ostensibly, this move by the US government, because the US Defense Secretary James Mattis refused to certify that Pakistan was using all coalition support funds in combating terror groups like the Haqqani network. Pranay Upadhyay now breaking the story for us at the top of Face Off. How significant is this decision, Pranay?
Zakka, this is a very significant decision which has come from the US administration, especially the Donald Trump administration is trying to give the impression that they are for the decisive steps against the war, for the war against terror. And this decision has come at a time when recently the U.S. Congress has passed a National Defense Appropriation Bill for 2017. And in fact, in that decision, this is for the first time, the changes and the amendments introduced by Judge Ted Poe, the U.S. Congressman, were accepted, and after that now the Pakistan has been more accountable, and it has been made mandatory for the U.S. Defense Secretary to give a certificate, in fact a clean sheet for Pakistan to get the U.S. military aid and the financial aid from U.S. as a reimbursement for war against terror. So this is a very decisive and significant step. And if you see the series of steps taken by the Donald Trump administration, be it making Syed Salahuddin as a specially designated global terrorist, or making Pakistan more accountable, the clear message is that now Pakistan has to act on ground. Pakistan's intention and rhetorics about war against terror and being dutiful about the responsibility to fight against terror need to be reflected in her actions. And what we see on ground is the rallies being conducted by the globally designated terrorists like Syed Salahuddin and joined by Abdul Rahman Makki, or the banned organization like Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed.
Pakistan has been a major non-NATO ally, as the US calls it, a frontline state in the war on terror since 2001. I can't think of, previous DEFSECs, whether it's from Donald Rumsfeld's days, who've actually withheld certification or refused to certify that Pakistan is using all of its coalition support funds for tackling groups like the Haqqani network. Now, with these amendments that have been made to the U.S. Defense Authorization Act, the amendments that were brought in by Congressman Ted Poe, does this now set a new precedent, a new normal for how America reimburses Pakistan for its costs incurred in the war on terror?
Zakka, the new amendment which is introduced in the new Defense Appropriation Act clearly says that now Pakistan has to act against all terror organizations, all terror groups which are terror organization listed as terror organization by U.S. State Department or the international organizations like United Nations. So clearly, earlier the precedence and the norm was only for Pakistan to act against Haqqani network, but now Pakistan will have to act against Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Toiba, Hizbul Mujahideen and all terror organizations like these. So it comes with a greater accountability for Pakistan. Pakistan has to prove action, and U.S. Defense Secretary has to certify this thing. And the action and the approach of the Donald Trump administration, it seems to be quite different from the previous administration. This is what the impression they are trying to give.
Okay, Pranay, and this is significant because it comes just a few days before Donald Trump and the new administration unveils its new AFPAC policy. Thanks for joining us at the top of Face Off at 9 with that big breaking story. We'll keep a tab on how this moves, the wheels of the story, how they move in the next days and weeks ahead, as I said, as we look forward to this new AFPAC policy to be announced by the Trump administration. Now, moving on to our big debate, as India continues in this face-off with China at the Doklam Plateau, as well as the onslaught of Chinese propaganda. Today, the propaganda machine from Beijing called External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj a liar. On such a day, National Conference Chief Patron Dr. Farooq Abdullah has stirred a major political storm by suggesting that countries like China or the United States must step in to help resolve the Kashmir issue, basically facilitate a dialogue between India and Pakistan on Kashmir. He says that China and the US can create a conducive atmosphere for a lasting solution, which, come to think of it, is a bizarre solution given the state of affairs. We ask, has Dr. Farooq Abdullah undermined India's long-held position on Kashmir, which is that it is an internal matter, and if at all anything needs to be discussed, it will be discussed bilaterally between India and Pakistan without any kind of third-party intervention?
पाकिस्तान सेलिंग करेगा, कभी रोकेगा नहीं। आपको गलतफहमी है कि पाकिस्तान रोकेगा जब तक आप उनके साथ कश्मीर पे बात नहीं करेंगे। रास्ता बातचीत का है। दोस्तों को इस्तेमाल कीजिए। हम तो कहते हैं कि साहब दुनिया में हमारे दोस्त हैं, उनको इस्तेमाल कीजिए बातचीत करने के लिए। ट्रंप ने खुद कहा कि आई वांट टू सेटल कश्मीर प्रॉब्लम। हमने थोड़ा कहा उससे। चीन ने कहा अभी कि आई वांट टू मीडिएट इन कश्मीर।
फारूक साहब अमन की बात आज करते हैं या डायलॉग की बात करते हैं, इसमें सियासत है। ये वही फारूक साहब है जिन्होंने पीओके पे शेलिंग की बात की जब ये सरकार में थे और इनकी अलायंस थी यूपीए के साथ, तो इन्होंने कहा पाकिस्तान पे बमबारी कर दो और पीओके में बमबारी कर दो। आज अमन की उस वक्त तो इनको अमन और आस्ती याद नहीं आई। इतना ही नहीं, जब आई के गुजराल साहब ने इनिशिएटिव किया डायलॉग का, तो इसने कहा मैं कौन हूँ, आई एम अगेंस्ट the dialogue with separatists. So he said I will even resign. So this is unfortunate. These people are trying to politicize the institution of dialogue and institution of peace.
See, as far as Mr. Farooq Abdullah is concerned, he's a repeat offender. It is only about bilateral involvement and not involving any third party as far as Kashmir is concerned. But for the sake of power, Mr. Farooq Abdullah can speak anything against India and provide oxygen to Pakistan. That is quite evident.
Now, interestingly, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi has taken a slightly different line on this. He says Kashmir is an internal matter for India. In fact, the exact phrase that he used is India is Kashmir, Kashmir is India, striking a discordant note from Dr. Farooq Abdullah and his party, which, by the way, are allies of the Congress, the National Conference. Listen in to Rahul Gandhi.
मैं अब काफी समय से कह रहा हूं कि नरेंद्र मोदी जी और एनडीए की पॉलिसीज ने जम्मू कश्मीर को जला दिया है। मगर जो कहा जा रहा है कि चाइना से, पाकिस्तान से, इन लोगों से कश्मीर का डिस्कशन होना चाहिए, मेरी राय है कि कश्मीर इज इंडिया एंड इंडिया इज कश्मीर। और ये हमारा इंटरनल मैटर है, ये हमारा इंटरनल बिजनेस है और इसमें किसी का कुछ लेना देना नहीं है।
Meanwhile, after his comments set off a huge furor, speaking to CNN News 18 in a clarification, Farooq Abdullah has said, and I quote, that his remarks have been misunderstood. This is exactly what he said, that my statement is being misunderstood. The talk between India and Pakistan is essential, and for that, conditions have to be laid down so that it can be congenial, that there can be peace in the region. Meanwhile, his son Omar Abdullah has also put out a series of tweets trying to clarify this controversial comment made by his father. Talk about spinning a statement. Dr. Abdullah has said that friends can be used to facilitate a dialogue with Pakistan, to facilitate a solution. Dr. Abdullah didn't call for mediation. He said that Trump offered to help and China offered to mediate. How is that the same as him asking for it? Now, here's why what Dr. Farooq Abdullah said, this whole idea of friends or third countries mediating, facilitating, call it what you want, how this dilutes India's long-held position. Right from 1972, since the Shimla Agreement, India has consistently held that Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India and it is a bilateral issue. Any dispute therein is a bilateral issue between India and Pakistan. This violates, what Farooq Abdullah today said, violates the spirit and letter of the Shimla Agreement, in which explicitly both India and Pakistan had committed to a peaceful resolution of all issues, including Jammu and Kashmir, bilaterally without the involvement of any third party. It also transgresses on the spirit of the 1999 Lahore Declaration, the famous Vajpayee bus trip to Lahore, where it was said that both countries will implement the Shimla Agreement in letter and in spirit. And if I'm not mistaken, the National Conference was an ally of the then NDA when Mr. Vajpayee made that historic trip. Also, this gives China a needless opportunity to interfere in affairs between India and Pakistan at a time when Indian and Chinese troops have been locked in this face-off at Doklam for over a month. India's repeated snubs against mediation, whether it's offers that have come from China or Turkey recently, the Turkish president has said this in an interview, the United States during Bill Clinton's time, the United Nations, all of this has now come under question with Farooq Abdullah trying to raise this. Pandit Nehru, India's first Prime Minister, taking the Kashmir issue to the United Nations, which turned out to be a historic mistake back in 1948, and agreeing to a plebiscite, that mistake still continues to haunt India's position on Kashmir. So, what was Farooq Abdullah trying to do? Was he simply trying to fish in troubled waters, or was he seriously undermining India's long-held position on Kashmir? Joining us here in our studios, Brigadier Retired B.D. Mishra. Welcome to Face Off. We're also joined from Srinagar by Gohar Gilani, political commentator, GVL Narasimha Rao, spokesperson of the BJP, Ashok Malik, resident commentator here at CNN News 18, Dr. Ajay Kumar, spokesperson of the Congress, and we'll be joined in a moment by Nasir Aslam Wani, former Jammu and Kashmir Home Minister and spokesperson of the National Conference. Do you think what Farooq Abdullah said today undermines India's position? Not least, I mean, and I keep saying this, to say that China will help at a time when Indian and Chinese troops have been locked in a face-off, you've got to be tone deaf to say something like that.
Well, let me first tell you, and I'm telling it straight, Farooq Abdullah is known for putting his foot in mouth. There is no occasion when this man does not put his foot in mouth. And mind you, the way he talks, it seems that he's gone off his rockers. When the man says that Kashmir tumhare baap ka nahi hai, what does it mean? What does he mean? Was it his baap's? Sheikh Abdullah, who was arrested, his father was the only chief minister who from chair was sent to prison. And his son, who said Armed Forces Special Power Act should be removed. Now, what is happening? This is security of our nation. And this man is talking like that. Now, second point which I want to make is that China, Farooq Abdullah has made two wrong statements. First thing, China has said that we are prepared to interfere in Kashmir. They did not say that we want to solve this problem. And Trump has never said that he wants to mediate because he knows what is stand of India. And he will never say that. All these factual wrong statements, this man is making as an irresponsible person. A person who has come and is sitting in Lok Sabha with 6% vote. If he had a bit of shame, he should have resigned.
GVL Narasimha Rao, is this undermining India's long-held position right from 1972, the Shimla Agreement, that any disputes between India and Pakistan, including Jammu and Kashmir, will be resolved bilaterally without any third-party intervention?
No, Zakka, I don't think our position on matters of national importance are not decided by one regional leader making a off-the-cuff remark. I think he's trying to act as a poodle of Pakistan today. He's, for reasons best known to him, he wears the hat of a patriot and a nationalist when he's in power in Srinagar and in New Delhi. And when he loses power, he wants to play the treacherous agenda. I don't think we need to really take him seriously. He's a nobody to really decide on the national policy, on the national doctrine of Kashmir being an internal, entire Jammu and Kashmir being an internal, being a part of India, and disputes, any disputes, territorial disputes will be resolved with Pakistan through bilateral dialogue. He should actually tell his friends in Pakistan. He should tell his friends in Pakistan to stop exporting terror. Why then,
GVL, is your ally, the PDP, agreeing with Farooq Abdullah? This is what Sartaj Madani of the PDP has said, and I quote, "Happy if Farooq Abdullah is asking for talks with Pakistan or US or China. If you want to resolve Kashmir issue, there is no other way." I mean, this is the same party who you are in alliance with in Srinagar.
I have been on other channels, and other representatives of PDP said this is not the official position of the PDP. We would certainly want to hear from the leader. Only the other day, you had the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir saying that China is actually interfering and is partly responsible.
That's
she
true.
blamed China.
Yeah.
So why would you? I think if a lower level functionary in that party makes comments which are in line with what Farooq Abdullah has said, there is no reason to really take
Ashok Malik,
them seriously.
at a time when we have this face-off between Indian and Chinese troops going on for the last 34-35 days now, today the Global Times putting out an editorial where they've said the most uncharitable things about Sushma Swaraj, even going to the extent of accusing her of lying to the Indian Parliament. When Farooq Abdullah suggests that China could mediate between India and Pakistan on Kashmir, I mean, what, is he out of his mind? Is he simply trying to fish in troubled waters? What is it? And he's a member of Parliament, for God's sake. Ashok Malik, that question was for you, if you can hear me. Can you hear me? I don't think you can hear me. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, Ashok, that question was for you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry, what was the question again?
Sorry, my question was, at a time when Indian and Chinese troops are locked in this face-off in Doklam, and today the Global Times has written some utmost uncharitable things about Sushma Swaraj, even accusing her of lying to the Indian Parliament. Farooq Abdullah suggesting that China can be a friend, that China can mediate between India and Pakistan on Kashmir. I mean, is he out of his mind, or is he trying to fish in troubled waters? And this is coming from no less than a member of Parliament.
I think he's been deliberately mischievous and probably trying to reach out to separatist sentiment on the streets of the valley, which is unfortunate because he's a senior and mature politician, we would have thought, and a former chief minister. He knows the ground situation. He knows that China, if anything, is bankrolling Pakistan's most toxic policy against India and in Kashmir. It's virtually standing by terrorism or standing up for terrorism. It's not allowing UN sanctions against terrorists who are involved in violence in Jammu and Kashmir and are based in Pakistan. China is certainly not going to be a friendly mediator or an honest broker between India and Pakistan. And frankly, should India and Pakistan talk? Of course they should talk. Even the government says they should talk. But they can only start talking after terrorism has been checked from Pakistani soil.
Okay.
That is something we've been urging the Chinese and the Americans to tell the Pakistanis. The Americans have started saying that, to be fair. The Chinese are nowhere close to saying that.
Okay,
and to expect that China will be a peacemaker between India and Pakistan, or will be even mildly sympathetic to India's terrorism problem, is to live in cuckoo land.
We're also joined by Nasir Aslam Wani.
Knows all of that.
We're also joined by Nasir Aslam Wani, former Home Minister from the National Conference. Is this the official position of the National Conference, sir, that you believe that China can negotiate between India and Pakistan on Kashmir at a time when Indian and Chinese troops are locked in a face-off for the last 33, 34 days in Doklam? You seriously believe that China can play an honest mediator, honest facilitator, call it what you want?
If you have listened to the statement of Dr. Farooq Saab very clearly, it's not only China that he talked about. And I must tell you that it's a reflection of the pain and the misery that he is seeing in his people. And now that we have been in, I think, 28th year of militancy and almost 70 years of this issue not being resolved, that is what is the forward movement only now.
But Nasir Saab, Nasir Saab, you represent.
Question to Mr. Wani.
One second. You represent a mainstream political party. You've been in power for a number of occasions. How can you go against the stated Indian position that is, whatever disputes there are between India and Pakistan is bilateral?
Just tell me for a moment. I mean, just tell me for a moment, where have we said anything against the country? Don't you remember that at least 3 of our prime ministers have always hoped that we have a friendly relation with our neighbor?
Sir, doesn't the Shimla agreement, sir, doesn't the Shimla agreement say that...
when we talk about Vajpayee Saab,
doesn't the Shimla agreement say
that we can change our friends? Listen to me.
Fair enough.
I know what he said. He said on our land. Then you should actually mention that also, because you can always change your friends.
Shimla agreement,
but you can never change your neighbor.
The Shimla agreement has been the cornerstone of India's policy vis-a-vis Pakistan since 1972, and it clearly says all issues will be resolved bilaterally. It is undermining India's position. What Dr. Farooq Abdullah today did was undermining India's position, asking for third-party facilitation.
You all, Shimla agreement is now what good? How many years old? Have we been able to make any forward movement since then? And let me tell you very clearly, I mean, the peace between these two nations,
Mr. Wani, I've got a question for you.
Mr.
Wani, I've got a question for you.
Please.
Mr. Farooq Abdullah and his father and his son, for 3 generations, you have been ruling.
Can you please tone down? Can you please tone down? Please don't shout at me.
No, I didn't interfere.
Can you please tone down?
Must Wani,
don't shout at me.
Mr. Wani,
I'm not
Mr. Wani,
you. And don't shout at me.
You keep quiet. You listen to my question and then answer.
You just can't.
can't be jabbering.
Can you be a little?
No, you listen. Now, from 1947, your family of Mr. Abdullah has been ruling. What all did you do? And you are calling 1972 resolution as an archaic resolution. What progress have you made thereafter? And his son,
what can the state
recently he has been chief
Unless
minister,
the government of India
and you are
wants
talking about all these
Hey,
glorious things, and you are defending Farooq Abdullah's
get too
statement.
passionate. See.
How can you do that?
Yeah, I have
when
to. He
when
have
the
to.
country's
It is
policy
very
is very
relevant.
clear that it will be all done bilaterally.
It's a
Why
very
do you bring in
relevant
Pakistan?
statement. It's not a.
What,
it's not,
what is
not
there
on,
for
it's not only
Pakistan
a
to come in?
statement.
There is a, listen, there is a resolution.
You may raise your voice as much as you can. I don't want to outshout you.
Indian
but
Parliament that Kashmir is an integral part of India, including POK.
Who says
that
no? Who says no?
Now,
where
why
have
do
you? Where in that statement have you
what
said
is
no?
the big purpose? What is the big purpose of talking to Pakistan on the territorial demarcation?
Purpose is to have peace
it is
in
all
the
ours.
subcontinent.
It
Purpose
is all
is
ours.
to have peace
And
between
how
India and Pakistan.
How
Purpose
can your
is
leader?
to stop
How
the
can your
cycle of
leader
death
bring
in
in
our state.
China?
You can't understand
China,
that misery that we are going
China,
through.
China is totally against
you
India.
Can't understand that
China
pain.
has,
Every
along
day
with Pakistan, attacked India. How do you bring in China? Is China India's well-wisher? No, question, you got to answer this.
When an
How is
18-year-old boy
China
gets
named?
shot in the
Is
dead.
China India's well-wisher?
Does
Does Dr. Farooq Abdullah understand? He doesn't understand that.
One sec. Nasir Saab.
You don't understand.
No, Nasir Saab, one second. Hear me out.
Kindly answer the question.
Kindly
answer the question.
Answer his
Does
question.
Dr. Farooq Abdullah understand? And he takes China as well-wisher of India.
One second, let him answer. Does Dr. Farooq Abdullah seriously believe that in the current circumstances of an intense face-off, the kind of which we haven't seen between India and China since 1986, in these circumstances, does he seriously believe China will play an honest mediator or facilitator or role in the
for a moment, did he only mention China?
Okay,
did
US.
he not say
US.
that we have many friends in the world?
US as well.
Mentioned China
One second.
Brigadier, we haven't said mediate.
One second.
We have said to facilitate. There is a difference between mediation and facilitation.
Mentioning the name of China.
We want it to be
Understand
facilitated.
that.
Why don't you want us to
Understand
live in
that.
peace?
No.
Does it mitigate?
By mentioning US or China or whichever country, the point is that
he
you
said
are
we have many friends
undermining
in the world.
You are undermining.
He mentioned China.
You are undermining India's long-held position of non-intervention by a third party.
And China also said, "I want to meet."
No, never. China has never said. They have said
Okay.
global Times has said that they will interfere.
Let me also get in the others into the debate. Gohar
Not
Gilani,
interfere.
Dr. Ajay Kumar is there. Well, no, let me get in the others as well. Dr. Ajay Kumar, interestingly, your leader Rahul Gandhi has taken a different line from Farooq Abdullah. In fact, the phrase that he used is Kashmir is India and India is Kashmir, which is contrary to what Farooq Abdullah said. And I thought your party and the National Conference were allies. At least you were in the previous government.
Zakka, again, I find this so strange. National Conference is aligned and in alliance with the BJP, and it's very important for somebody as mature as you as an anchor to, choose your words a little carefully. The question is whether Mr. Farooq Abdullah has made a huge mistake by making this statement. Yes. Whether Mr. Farooq Abdullah should have not ever said this. Yes. The question is India has never allowed interference of a third party across in any issue. Forget Kashmir issue. In any issue with any country on our borders, we have never ever entertained the third party intervention. And this has been the government of India's foreign policy. But the question again is, as a very committed anchor, I would like to ask you a couple of questions which also disturbs us. One is that Rao Saab is here, the National Security Advisor is going to China. Is that the right time to go to China? Because every day you hear Chinese media slamming India and we are not responding adequately. So that's an issue we need to ensure. And then I don't want to get into too meh, but the political part. But I would request Mr. Rao that it's a serious issue. And if Chinese are saying it 40 times a day, we need to actually, at least from a statement perspective, we seem to be a little behind, and that needs to be fixed.
And are you saying we should ratchet up the rhetoric? Are you saying that we should ratchet up the rhetoric?
And as far as Mr. Farooq Abdullah goes, and anybody comes in this country, that there has never been in any issue, bilateral issue, the third party should interfere.
Okay.
So the question again is, Mr. Abdullah is wrong.
No, no, I want
Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and let me finish in the end.
Okay. I want to ask, are you saying that the National Security Advisor should not go to Beijing? Is that what you're saying?
All party demanded it.
No, one sec, let him say.
My question again is, you ask everybody on the panel, is it the most optimal time?
Okay,
Chinese
let
are
me
calling
ask
a foreign
GVL.
minister a liar. Chinese are making everybody slamming.
Okay.
Now question is, my question to you is this what is the optics the government has to decide? My question again is, and let me, and I'll complete it. Every time you drag Pandit Nehru's name on plebiscite, what was one of the conditions of plebiscite? That Pakistan also has to get out of the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir.
Got it.
So the question again is,
let
irrespective
GVL
of whatever
respond.
be the stand, the Congress party stand, Simla agreement is Indira Gandhi, and look at how much of value it is paid. Mrs. Gandhi's 1972 Shimla agreement
got
is
it.
in which the whole
let
our
GVL
foreign
respond.
agenda and discussion with any other person
let GVL respond.
Pakistan can't get a third party.
Got it.
So please
Let
compliment Mrs. Gandhi
GVL
on
respond.
that.
Dr. Kumar, let GVL respond. Ajay Kumar says, GVL, that this is not an optimal time for the National Security Advisor to go to Beijing when every day, virtually every day, you're hearing bellicose comments from the Chinese media as well as from the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokespersons, including the latest editorial in Global Times calling Sushma Swaraj a liar. GVL.
No, Zakka, Zakka, if media in China, if they are making caustic comments about our foreign minister, I think it's highly deplorable, condemnable. I'm sure the Indian media is not going to take it kindly, and there will be caustic and acerbic attacks on Chinese media also for having indulged in this very low-level attacks against a foreign dignitary. As far as Mr. Ajit Doval's visit is concerned, he is going to attend a BRICS meet of NSAs. So this is not a bilateral visit, and we have been participating in all multilateral fora, even where Pakistan attends. Even only a few days ago, you had a G20 summit where the Chinese premier was there, president was there. And as far as the governmental position is concerned, we have been responding to it in a measured way. But why does Rahul Gandhi go silent on China? Why does he meet them, and why does the Congress party mislead the country that he has not met the Chinese ambassador? Why does Congress party have to attack media and then eat its own words? I think why is the Congress party feeling the pressure? Is that the reason why
I don't want to make this into a Congress BJP debate. Let me also bring in Gauhar Gilani. He's also been waiting patiently.
So Zakka, I'll just give 10
seconds to respond.
Zakka, I just need to take 10 seconds.
10 seconds,
Zakka.
okay. 10 seconds.
Zakka, just 10 seconds. Yeah. The lies of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Mr. Gandhi said he met the BJP senior most general secretaries, and please do a research on them. Senior most people of BJP have been visiting China not 5 times, 6 times, 12 times in the past 3 years. If you pull it out, and this is from the RSS people who have told us. So repeat, no, let me complete, Mr. Rao. The BJP topmost guys, you reveal the names. Why are you visiting the Chinese 15 times, 20 times? And your senior most people are doing it. But you are doing it surreptitiously and compromising. That is okay.
Rahul Gandhi should not have met. But we are only questioning your sober salt on this. Your party leadership, your communications department refused.
Come on, all your senior guys.
How many times have you gone to China? Lying, and
during the standoff, 3 ministers were there.
Lie had been exposed.
You tell me 3 ministers were there during the standoff.
All our meetings.
Can you explain that?
I think we expect you to be transparent.
My friend, 23 bar, you go to China 20 times in 3 years, that is okay. I mean, come on.
Height of, travel to China or to meet Chinese ambassador.
20 times
be
China.
transparent about it.
Let me get.
He said we met. No, you are going under.
One sec. Let me get. Hold it, both of you. Let me get Gauhar Gilani in. Gauhar Gilani, look at the sequence of events that's been going on. Today we had this story about Abdul Basit, the Pakistan High Commissioner, meeting the Chinese ambassador, meeting the Bhutanese ambassador. Well, first of all, what is Pakistan's role in what is going on in Doklam, which is essentially between India, China and Bhutan? And Farooq Abdullah thinks, and in such a scenario, China can play honest facilitator or honest mediator between India and Pakistan on Kashmir. I mean, really, what fool's paradise are we living in?
Zakka, first of all, I waited for 33 minutes, so I expect you to extend the same courtesy to me to make my point. First of all, I'm not sure whether Farooq Abdullah said exactly what you're saying, but what he perhaps, I listened to his sound bites. He said that China has spoken about Kashmir and it has offered to mediate, and US has made similar statements. Even Turkey and Iran have made such statements. So when this dispute has not been resolved amicably for the last 7 decades, so it's only fair that a third party mediation be done. Even people like Karan Thapar have made such arguments last year when he wrote an article in the Hindustan Times and comparing Kashmir problem with that of Northern Ireland. And when Good Friday Agreement can happen in Northern Ireland, why can't it be replicated in Jammu and Kashmir? So even Dr. Sumantra Bose, a noted academic based in London, and he wrote a book where he compares Northern Ireland conflict with that of Kashmir. So I think, from Kashmir's perspective, it's only fair that a neutral body will come and mediate and resolve this dispute. And why is India saying, right now that we are averse to any third party mediation? Even Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru has made that commitment to the people of Jammu and Kashmir and also to the world community. So I think this is a fair assessment of the situation on the ground, because both countries are only busy shelling each other on the line of control, on the ceasefire line, and on the IB. So it's important that if people of Kashmir Kashmir can actually become a bridge of friendship between India and Pakistan if this dispute is resolved amicably with third party mediation.
If Dr. Farooq Abdullah is so keen on this third party intervention, he can impress the Chinese to tell the Pakistanis, who are their ostensibly all-weather friends, to stop cross-border terrorism. We can then sit the very next day across the dialogue table. Or he can ask the Pakistanis. I don't know
why.
One sec.
Even the talk of the very mention of China.
No, one sec. Let me also finish. If he's so impressed with the Chinese, he can ask the Chinese to return the Shaksgam Valley, which of course the Pakistanis gave to China.
See, Zakka, I don't know why even the mention of China unnerves so many people in India, even the BJP, from BJP to Congress.
What do you mean it unnerves?
What do you mean Kashmir has become a convenient whipping boy for the Indian media. You don't talk about what is happening in Doklam. So everybody is unnerved, and you know what is happening between China and India right now. But I'm limiting my argument to Kashmir. And Kashmir, as you all know, anyone who has read and studied Kashmir conflict and who knows the ground reality, Kashmir is a dispute, and it has to be resolved. And if it has not been resolved by 2 countries, then it's only fair that a third party mediation and third party intervention resolves it.
Gilani, you have used a very wrong word.
I don't care about your objection. I don't care about your objection.
I'm a soldier.
I don't care about your objection.
Indian army has stopped.
It doesn't bother me. Whether you are offended, objected, it doesn't bother me.
PLA just cannot take a step forward, and we are not unnerved. Don't smile and don't giggle. Don't smile and don't giggle. Your words are wrong, and you are being
please decrease your volume and learn to address guests with respect.
No,
don't be disrespectful to anyone.
Who is unnerved? Unnerved. You tell me, is Farooq Abdullah unnerved, or you are unnerved? India is not unnerved.
I don't care about Farooq Abdullah. I care about what my argument is. I don't care about anyone else.
Very wrong word you have used. I thought you have got some maturity.
Okay.
No, it's an appropriate word. It's an appropriate. You can object to it. That's your right. It's very appropriate word I have used. I used it with utmost responsibility.
Let me go back to Nasir Saab.
Your responsibility is misplaced.
Let me go back to Nasir Saab.
Words like unnerved.
Hang on.
India is not unnerved.
Okay, let me go back to Nasir Saab.
Yeah, you are unnerved. That's why you're still unnerved.
Nasir Saab, if Farooq Abdullah is so enamored by the Chinese, why doesn't he tell the Chinese to tell the Pakistanis to stop cross-border terrorism? After all, Kashmiris are dying in cross-border terrorism, right? Why doesn't he?
Sorry to say, I don't know why your record has stuck on only China. If you listen to his statement, I might reiterate it. If you have listened to his statement carefully, he didn't only mention China. He also said about US. He also said about other friendly nations that have friendly ties with us.
Saab, let him get the US. Let him get the US to tell Pakistan to stop cross-border terrorism. That's also third-party intervention.
That is when the dialogue talks. That's when we start. That's what we said. If somebody facilitates that, why not? If we get them to stop the cross-border terrorism, so why not?
No, but that's not what he said. That's not what he said. He said Let US or China facilitate talks between India and Pakistan.
You are unnecessarily, I don't know, you are unnecessarily making a mountain out of a molehill. It's just a beginning. He has just suggested it. No dialogue has started. No country has even been approached to facilitate. But it's a very valid argument and a very valid statement that since we have not been able to achieve anything by holding on to militancy for so many years, it is better that we start a dialogue between two nations so that we live peacefully.
I think it's extremely duplicitous also on the part of Dr. Farooq Abdullah. He would never say this when he was in power. When he was Chief Minister, he would never say we need third-party intervention.
You also have to understand.
Let me ask
why does he shout? Please tell him to tone down. Why does this fellow shout?
Let me put one more question.
Please tell him to tone down.
When he says Kashmir tere baap ka hai, kya
you can
Kashmir
put 10
tere
questions,
baap ka
but
hai? What does it indicate? What kind of mindset he has got? You are defending him that he has said in a different vein. What does it indicate when he says kya Kashmir tere baap ka hai? What does it mean? What does it indicate? And he has said in Hindi.
आपने गौर से सुना किसको कहा वो समझा आपने आपको पूरी बात तो समझ
कम समझ नहीं है लोगों की आप माफ करिएगा इतनी कम समझ लोगों की नहीं है अगर आप ये समझते हैं कि सब हिंदुस्तान में 125 करोड़ लोग
ये दर्द आप समझ नहीं सकते हमारे दिल पे क्या गुजरती है हमारे बच्चे जब यहाँ मरते हैं हमारे सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस के लोग जब यहाँ मरते हैं तो दुख हमको होता है You can't, I will again tell you, you won't be able to understand that pain.
If you defend them, and you call them your bache are in England.
One second.
And those who are throwing stones,
this is
whose bache are in England?
No, one second.
You don't know anything. I don't know where you come from.
One second. Sir, one second. In the context,
is he talking about?
In the context of what the comment that he referred to, this was made on the 25th of November.
Somebody who can
this was made on the 25th of November 2016, and Farooq Abdullah said this, and I quote: "POK is not the personal property of India. You can't claim it like inherited property of your forefathers."
Hindi mein bola tha.
I mean, I'm reading an English translation of that. You stand by that, Nasir Saab? You stand by what he said on the 25th of November 2016?
It has been 70 good years, my dear. Can you hear me?
He's talking
it has
about
been good 70 years. Have we been able to change anything? Has anything changed on ground? Except that we are dying. For last 28 years plus, we are hit by militancy. We are not being able to live a normal life. Our children are not getting normal education. Our children are not getting that peaceful environment to grow in.
So who is burning schools?
Why doesn't Farooq Saab then tell the Pakistanis to stop killing Kashmiris?
Don't burn schools.
Why doesn't Farooq Saab tell Pakistan to stop cross-border terrorism?
Maybe in coming days, when something concrete comes out of what he has said today, maybe government of India also thinks and realizes what he has said. Maybe they take it forward.
I'm going to wrap up.
Maybe he's going to talk to.
I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to give the final comment to Ashok Malik. 30 seconds. Do you think that this was just an off-the-cuff remark which he went on to later clarify, or is this deliberately being mischievous, and how should the rest of the political fraternity respond to it?
You know, one has to see this in the context of street politics in the Kashmir Valley. In the past 2-3 years, there has been an unfortunate wave of Islamism in the Kashmir Valley, which has tended to bypass traditional politicians, traditional separatist-friendly politicians in the Hurriyat, in the PDP. And there is an attempt by various politicians to now appeal to the lowest common denominator and appeal to this young, angry, unfortunately Islamist sentiment.
Okay.
I think Farooq Abdullah is trying to play the same game. I don't think it will serve much purpose, because I don't think the people he's aiming to influence really want to listen to him or to anybody in mainstream politics.
Okay, I'm going to wrap up.
To expect that Pakistan and Kashmir will listen to, to expect that Pakistan will listen to China is preposterous.
All right, I'm going to wrap it up at this. All I'll say is this. I mean, if we believe, if any mainstream Indian politician feels that the Chinese will play the role of an honest mediator or a facilitator, they're living in some alternate reality, and I feel sorry for Dr. Farooq Abdullah on that count. I want to thank all our guests for joining us on our panel tonight. I'm going to take a break as I thank our panelists. The Twitter poll is still on, so if you want to still take part in the Twitter poll, you can go to our Twitter page. It's @News18. Quick break. When we come back on the other side, it's a special presentation here on Face Off and on CNN News 18. It's a special campaign. Network 18 along with Tata Tea, Alarm Bajne Se Pehle Jago Re. It's our special campaign on gender sensitization.
Check these out. Important meetings, global summits, discussions. देख लिया? Now let me ask you this. कितने आदमी थे? We're talking about panels. Got it? Well, a panel is a panel where the topic of discussion could be anything, but the ones discussing it are only men. Man plus panels. Manels. It's a bros affair. Climate change summits, Syrian crisis, or GST. Not one woman in the panel. No wonder they thought making sindoor, bangles and bindis tax exempt and putting 12% on sanitary napkins was a good idea. Imagine. Supreme Court bench hearing the triple talaq petition, all men. Foreign policy, national security or economics, women are invisible. Nearly. And why is that? Are there no women foreign policy experts or historians or economists? And we are not even getting into cricket, cars or money, where too often men are going to explain to you what you think about these issues. If in an odd chance you are the sole woman on a panel, then be prepared for this. A man will explain your emotions, your bodies, in fact maybe your own discoveries to you. Mansplaining.
Oh yeah.
Technically, here a man speaks over or interrupts a woman to explain something to her that she may already know. Indeed, something she might be an expert on, assuming that he must definitely know more on the subject than her because he's the man.
Oh yeah.
And while we're at it, let's just get familiar with some more terms. Mantrupting. Here is when a man unnecessarily interrupts a woman, often at workspace. Bropriate is when a man appropriates an idea from a woman and passes it off as his own because it's his right. Manslamming. This is when a man slams into a woman while walking because he will just not change his path.
Oh yeah.
But the bottom line is, let's start with manners. Call them out, don't be a part of them. And here in the media, stop being lazy. If there is a man who is an expert in a subject, surely there is a woman too.